So today we're going to talk more about Optimus, the humanoid robot. This is Randy Kirk. If you like this kind of content, if you like talking about Optimus, then like and subscribe, join the Patreon, and comment. Today's one of those days where comments are even more important than normal. I'm really looking for your feedback because, in fact, today's entire video is about your comments in the last video about Optimus. I've never gotten more comments. I've never gotten better comments, more useful comments, more inventive and fun comments. And so it was a great blast for me because I love masterminding. I love coming, having people stand around and get in a group and figure out ways to make solutions to issues that are confronting either the individual, the company, or the world. That's the most fun of all. Okay, so that's why I have my Patreon set up the way I do. That's what my Patreon is going to be doing a lot of. If that kind of stuff is fun for you and you'd like to be a part of it, it's only $5 a month. You'll also get videos before other folks, and there's other benefits. There's some kinds of predictions and prognostications that are not made public to the rest of the world. So join Patreon if you'd like to be a part of that. Okay. So many great comments. Many of the comments were suggesting additional use cases for the Optimus humanoid robot. There was really solid things, and we'll talk about some of those use cases. There was also some breakthroughs in my thinking about Optimus from the comments, not from my own brain. This is from you guys coming in and saying, hey, Randy, why didn't you think about this? So the premise here is that Elon Musk at Tesla is going to make 1,000 humanoid robots this year by hand using 3D, using some manufacturing, of course. Some of it could be set up to manufacture some of the parts in some kind of a normal manufacturing process. But 3D printing is great if you only want to make 10 of something, and then you want to make a different iteration the next week and another iteration the next week. And that's kind of how I foresee this processing working. So your goal in this video is not only to think of additional use cases, that'll be great. It's not only to think of different things that I'm not even mentioning and point those out in the comments. I want you to think about, why wouldn't Tesla do this? I'm saying that they're absolutely doing it already. And I got people saying, no, it'll be years before they start deploying this many robots around the factory. But they don't give me any reasons why. And I'm asking again, if you know a roboticist, you know somebody that's their specialization, designing, building robots, and they would know the answer as to what would be the holdup. Why couldn't these robots be made by 3D printing, built by hand, and then deployed right now? What's the holdup? We saw the initial product that was made by off-the-shelf parts. We saw that on the AI day. It came out, it watered plants, it picked up things and moved them to a new location. It was able to walk through environments. So then we saw the second level, which just looked a little better and was using parts that had been designed and built by Tesla engineers, by 3D printing, and then hand built. And that one wasn't yet quite stable enough to walk, but it was close. I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't be smart to build, let's say, 10 robots each week. You build the 10 robots. You put them out to do a useful task in the factory. You have a handler. You have somebody who's already doing that job, or a manager to oversee, and the robot begins to do that job. And then next week, there's reporting back. There's reporting that comes, and this was one of the ones that the commenter said I had thought about. The eyes of the robot are what? Reporting back to cameras. To screens. You can watch what the robot is seeing. So one of the ways that you're getting reports back is that a handler can be looking at a screen and seeing what the robot sees, seeing if the robot is doing his job right, seeing if there's ways that could be improved in the way that the robot is operating. Number two, you're getting mechanical results back, right? Because all the mechanical, just like your car, just like your Tesla automobile, there's information that's coming back from the physical activities of the robot, from the motors, from all of the actuators, from the mechanical parts. These things are feeding back information, and so that's helping to make the next iteration. And then you have the tasking itself. How is it doing on the tasking? How could the tasking be improved? How could the tasking be speeded up? How could the robot be more effective at what it's doing, more precise? Any of those things, okay? So you make the 10 robots, you get all this information back, and now you can I'm sorry, I forgot the software. I'm sorry. Third, you're getting the information that the software is managing, and so it's always learning. This is a learning process, AI, we're all into AI now. So the AI is working, and the robot is getting smarter and smarter and more capable. Moreover, the information that he's learning and getting more smarter is now being sent out to the other 9 robots, and so the other 9 robots are smarter. Week 2, you take everything that you've learned week 1 and you build 10 more robots that take into consideration. You iterate. This is what Elon talks about all the time. You make something, you fail forward, and then you iterate. Okay? So you got good things and bad things, you iterate, you make the next 10 robots. Those 10 robots, maybe they go out and do the same task, maybe they go out and do new tasks and new jobs, new positions, and now you repeat the process over again. And those 10 robots now, their information that they've gathered gets sent out to the first 10 robots, and so those 10 robots are now smarter. And then you do this again with 30 robots, 40 robots, etc. And maybe at some point, you're making 20 a week because you've got such effective robots at this point that it makes sense to make more of them. Now, here becomes the part that I'm daring you. I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you to tell me why Tesla would not do this, because listen to this. I made the case the other day, and I'm going to make it quickly here, that when I owned my factory, I would have gladly paid $100,000 for an Optimus robot. Pretty much what I saw coming out on the stage. I would have paid $100,000 for that. In fact, I was on the point of spending $100,000 on automated equipment. This is 35 years ago, $100,000 on automated equipment that the companies that were showing me the project, who were bidding on my project, would not guarantee it would work. But with an Optimus robot, I know that the Optimus robot can be trained, and if it can't do it at first, you just keep training it until it can. So the $100,000 would be an easy spend today. That's like $200,000 now compared to the $100,000 then. Now, why was I willing to spend that $100,000? Well, it's very easy. You just do the math. Okay, an employee who costs you $20 an hour really costs. That's their pay. It's really costing you a minimum of $25 an hour. That is times 2,000 hours a year is $50,000 a year that one employee is costing you. If that employee can be employed on 2 shifts, that's 100,000, 3 shifts, 150. And of course, 4th shift the weekend, you now have $200,000 that you saved with a $100,000 purchase. So it is impossible for me to imagine, I could be wrong. That's why I need a roboticist to help me here. It's impossible for me to imagine that it would cost even $100,000 for Tesla to make one of these robots. And yet it will produce $200,000 worth of work the first year and be free after that. So logically, I cannot wrap my head around why Tesla wouldn't make as many of these robots as they could possibly deploy right now using 3D, using whatever, doesn't matter. If it's $100,000 a piece, $150,000 a piece, it is going to pay for itself. It's profitable now. If it was profitable for little Randy in his factory with 100 employees, it will be profitable for Elon to deploy these robots. And he doesn't even have to lay anybody off because he hired 27,000 people last year. He's going to have to hire way more again this year. So I can't figure out why they wouldn't, just on that basis alone, just because it would already be profitable to the company to build them. Prove me wrong. Tell me where I'm missing out here. I can't figure it out. But then, in addition, what? You're getting the iterations. You're making the product better and better. You're doing it the Tesla way. You are failing fast forward, and you are getting the product to the point where it's going to be ready for sale. And that's where my second claim comes in. My second claim is that by the end of the year, first quarter of next year, they will start deploying these robots. Start building these robots. They will put up a line. They'll actually have a manufacturing line that will start making the robots, not only for Tesla, not only for SpaceX, not only for Boring Company, but they will start making these products for sale for other folks. I think it's going to happen in 2024 that these will be available. They'll have a big reveal, and they will take orders, and there will be 10 million orders the first day, because any factory owner, any builder, any nursing home, we'll talk about some of these use cases. We'll talk about the use cases. I know you saying it now. There'll be 10 million, 100 million, I don't know how many orders the first day, even if they're $100,000 each. And if Elon, for some reason, decides to sell them for 50,000 each or 40,000 each, which I don't think he needs to, but if he does, he'll have 100 million orders. It'll be unlimited. So many orders, they'll never be able to, they won't be able to fill them for years. So that is my statement. I'm still waiting to be proven wrong on this. Okay. And with facts, not with, I don't think they can. That doesn't help me. Help me help the community. Hey, and maybe it just occurred to me as I'm saying this, maybe they're going to show us more robot action on March 1st too. Maybe that's part of Master Plan 3. Maybe the robots will already be able to do useful tasks, and they'll show us a robot doing a useful task. And because robots would dramatically help with the mining, the refining, the battery production, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's just, so maybe that's part of Master Plan 3. Anyway, who knows? I'm obviously just creating here. It's just me. I'm the one that's got this idea, and I could be completely wrong. Okay. All right. So then the whole idea of the robot being able to see, we know it can see, but for some reason, I hadn't been able to pull that back and say, not only can he see, but the operator, the owner, can see what he sees. So now whatever the robot is doing, there can always be an operator, let's say a security. The robot is walking around the building or walking around the neighborhood, and he's looking to see might be wrong out there. That could be a security issue. And the robot could announce, he could, all he has to do is think. He has to think that a buzzer should go off where somebody that's monitoring it, and the person can look at the monitor, and the robot can point his head in the direction of whatever it is that could be a problem. And this is true for everything in the warehouse, everything in the manufacturing facility, everything in the farmer's field, everything at the nursing home, all of the possible, everything on the building site. And think about what that means in terms of the usability of these robots. It's just mind-blowing to me. It's hard to get my arms around it. So, all right. So now you have other things that kind of came up in the analysis. And I know I've heard some people talk about this before, but I just want to repeat it. There are certain situations where the human strength or endurance is a problem. So where there's a strength problem, let's say lifting invalids, lifting people in hospitals that are need to be lifted from one place to another. This is a huge cause of injuries in social workers and nurses and others who have to do this lifting. Firemen who come to a home where there's an invalid person who is on the floor and needs to get back in their bed or whatever, they have to bring in these huge contraptions because commonly the fire people can't even be the ones to lift them. But speaking of firemen, you can send a robot into a much hotter circumstance than you can send a human into. And then many people suggested that, like kilns and blasting furnaces and other things, and dangerous circumstances where there's sharp objects or where there's chemicals nearby, or where there's some chemicals that's in the air that you don't want people to breathe. So there's a bunch of different use cases where the task might be super simple, but sending in a robot to do it just means that the danger is taken away. And I know Elon had originally mentioned, well, you want to take the dangerous jobs. But when I was thinking dangerous jobs, I was thinking things like deep sea fishing in Alaska, or oil rigs out in the sea, or really, really dangerous, or going in and taking care of an explosive device that was put there by a terrorist. I really wasn't thinking about the kind of day-to-day, minimally dangerous, but things that are in fact dangerous that the robots will be able to do, that are simple tasks, really super simple tasks that would be easily worth $50,000 or $100,000 for that robot to be deployed. Okay, here were some of the other suggestions. Let me just kind of go through these. So one person said, "Hey, it wasn't just a chance thing that they had the robot watering a plant. That watering plants, walking dogs, weeding gardens, working in a farm, any kind of a small farm, even a large farm, driving a tractor, driving a tow motor or a forklift." There's a bunch of simple tasks like that that can be done, but this all started with this idea of doing gardening tasks would be something that most of us hate, and that the robot would be able to do quite nicely. Several people mentioned construction jobs, lots of construction jobs. One guy said, how about measuring and sawing for framing in building a house or building an apartment? This is not only a dangerous job, but also the robot can do the measuring, just by looking. He can look and he knows exactly where the spot is and then just cut. I did have one other person say, could you keep the saws out of the hands of the robots? That's a whole other video. We can go and do that another time. So then I thought, well, what about sending the Optimus robot under the house in order to do plumbing? That's got to be the worst job for the plumber, is going under the house in that tight crawl space or whatever, and dealing with rust and rodents and all kinds of things. The robot can go under the house. He can see, the plumber can see what he sees. He can direct and help the robot to accomplish the task. And then how many jobs are there like that? You could just count, you go on for days talking about the number of tasks where the robot would be doing the task, but there would be a helper, human, that would be sitting there assisting in the task. Now, somebody mentioned this is already being done when it comes to surgeries, where you can have these robotic surgical tools where the doctor is merely using a game control in order to actually do the operation. Let's see, there was also precision jobs. So humans only have certain levels of precision. And then that brought up the whole business of seeing and hearing. So the robot will be able to see better than a human. It will be, and in certain circumstances, like at night or in fog or whatnot, they'll be able to see better. They could be outfitted with radar or sonar or other things that would help them to see even better if that was the circumstance that was required. They would also be able to hear better than humans, hear different ranges, see in different spectrums. So these are all things that could be added to the basic robot in order to apply to certain use cases. Then there would be, let's see, I think I'm running out of things here. So those were some of the things that were brought up. I'm thinking that you in the audience could think of way more things that these robots could do. I'd love to have you continue to comment. Let's make a super long list of simple jobs, especially those that would be tedious, that would be exhausting, that would require strength, better hearing, better sight, that might involve danger, It'd be great to throw these. Maybe you've had this on your job. You've seen a particular job that you've done or watched others doing that you think the robot could do right now. That's my goal. My goal is, what can the robot do now? What's so simple that and by the way, people are saying, well, why does it need a bottom? Why does it need legs? Or why does it need feet? Why does it need to walk? It could do the job on rollers. I think the goal here is to have a versatile product. Human beings are extremely versatile. They can do a whole bunch of different stuff. So the idea is, if I was going to use a robot to do bottle capping in my factory, maybe I only want them to do bottle capping one shift. And then maybe on the second shift, I want them to go get in a forklift and go, put stuff away. So the versatility is huge. And I think that is the reason why, for the most part, it'll be the entire robot. And I don't think that the cost of only doing half a robot or doing a robot on wheels is going to be that significant once it's in production. So there you go. Now, remember what the main goal was. Why not? And then send this to Elon. Put it on Twitter and put a little thing at Elon Musk, and let's flood his email so that eventually he looks at this video and goes, oh my gosh, no, you're right. I haven't been doing that, but I will. Now, personally, I think it's already happening. I don't think I'm 1 bajillionth as smart as Elon, and I'm almost positive that this is already happening, but maybe not. Maybe they need the spark, or maybe you've got the reason. You can show me. No, Randy, they have to do it another way. This is absolutely not the way they're going to build it, but you're going to need to help me with the facts. Remember to like, remember to subscribe. It helps more people to see the video. Throw this up on Twitter, retweet my tweets. Let's get this one out there. It's fun. I think it's going to be helpful to you and to everybody else. And today, again, as usual, it's been great talking to you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.